If you've been enjoying our podcast as much as we have and hope that we continue past 50 episodes, here's your chance. Here's your chance to help make that happen. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, not only will you help the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary podcast to live on, but you'll also get exclusive content just for you.
Here's what's in store for you. Join monthly Q&A sessions where you can ask us about anything. Whether it's about our work, personal interests, or advice on your own projects, we're here to connect and share.
Enjoy unique content created specifically for Patreon subscribers, including bonus segments from our shows.
You'll have a say in what we create, and you'll have a voice in future content.
Benefit from exclusive discounts on merchandise and entries into special giveaways. It's our way of saying thank you for your support.
Receive personalized shout-outs in videos, podcasts, or social media posts.
Because your support on Patreon allows us to dedicate more resources to creating the content that you love.
You could join the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast community on Patreon and become a Prairie patron for just $5 a month. We thank you so much for your continued support, and we cannot wait to share our ongoing journey with you on Patreon.
We are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSimiValley.com and the city of Simi Valley's belief in Little House on the Prairie and their support of the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Discover the charm of Simi Valley, California, the home of the Prairie. Visit Simi Valley, where adventure meets history and the spirit of the Prairie comes alive. Explore the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, step aboard Air Force One, enjoy stunning hikes and savor delicious local cuisine. Whether you're here for a weekend getaway or a family vacation, Simi Valley offers something for everyone and is only 30 minutes from Los Angeles. Plan your visit today and experience the best of Simi Valley. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more details. Your adventure awaits in Simi Valley.
Bonnet heads, welcome. Hello again. How are you? I'm Pamela Bob, your host of this podcast and creator and star of Livin On a Prairie. I'm so happy to be here with you guys today. And along with me, yes, indeed, she's back from France, but soon gone again. It's our wonderful prairie bitch, Alison Arngrim. Hello, oh la la. And crisscrossing the country, signing Prairie Man books from all over the place, planning Little House events for 2025, snap, 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 and opening, his new online store for the holidays. That's right, our hashtag imaginary boyfriend, Dean Butler. Hi, Dean.
Hey.
Yes, the whistle effect.
I was just having a Zen moment listening to your intro music. I love that music, and it just sort of puts us in a space.
Yeah,
right.
It does. That was you chose all that music.
Yeah, no, but I just love it. It really works. And, 45 years ago, you mentioned all these things. 45 years ago, I would have said no way that I would be doing all this. I think right? Alison would agree that there's just no way. And now it just feels like destiny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
For both of you, I mean, it's true. I, again, couldn't imagine any other people doing the roles that you guys did. So I totally believe it was destiny. I think I believe in destiny. Not I think.
I do.
Yeah.
There was just a thing on the internet this morning as a quote, "You cannot outrun your destiny." You can't.
There it is.
And I'm like, well, apparently not. Yeah, hi.
You're like, it's chasing me. Dean, what's the name of your online store?
Oh, okay. So it's very clever. It's Manly Store Shopping. It's really a Prairie Man bookstore more than anything else. It's about the book, and the URL, which we'll put in the show notes, dean-butler-101201.square.site.
Dear Lord, we'll just have a link.
Yeah, there'll be. It'll
be.
You have numbers in there. It's like
yeah. I mean, it's a Square store, but it's fun, and I think we're doing some business.
Good.
Square stores are the best. Square stores are the best.
Too,
yeah. Oh, do you have a Square store too?
Just so you know, our merch store for the podcast with all of our new and former previously sold merch is going to be up any moment now. I actually think it might be up by the end of this week.
Seriously?
Yeah. It's a go. It's going. I just have to put everything up on the online store, which I plan on doing this week, and then it should be good to go. So get ready, everybody. And we have some fun Christmas merch up there too. I'm not going to give it away. It's going to be a surprise.
Well, that's fun. I mean, what's
and Hanukkah
and Hanukkah thing?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Perhaps with a certain character that we all love and adore. But I won't give it away anymore. Okay, so that's merch. Yes. Alison, what in the world?
What are you doing?
Upright right
now.
You
are racking up more frequent flyer miles than anybody I know.
It's great.
I mean, I go on my
Delta account. I think I have enough miles. I could just go to Australia and back.
Seriously?
For free.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm thinking a good vacation could be happening.
Yeah. Well deserved.
Everyone wants me. It was funny. I was just talking to our beautiful friend Dave Friedman yesterday.
And
love Dave.
Yeah.
Rattling off while I'm in, and he goes, "Now, is there an agent booking?" And I go, "No." He went, "What? What?" I go, "No, just I have Minions off of my stand-up tour, the fabulous Chip Duckett out of New York. But this is people call me and go, "Can you do this?" And yes, so I had met this marvelous woman who is in Ireland, Samantha, the tweeting goddess, and we talked, and I was supposed to do her conference, and then there was a pandemic. Then I did it by Zoom, and it was like, well, we've been talking. She goes, "Hey, I'm back on board, so come on over." And she said, "Well, tell you what, let me make it worth your while. So I'm going to schlep all the way here. I have a friend in Belfast." So there are 2 social media meetups, conferences, one in Belfast and one in Dublin. And it's all on my Facebook, the links and everything, and they're fabulous. And there are all these people who talk about how they made their Instagram, whatever, work. And shockaroo, my topic is why nostalgia is huge on social media and can work for you. Because how a 50-year-old TV show can explode on TikTok and Instagram and on a podcast. Hello. And hello, that's what I'm going to be talking about. But the bonus is like, well, okay, if we fly you in, you do this and this and this. So I talked to my cousin and my great-great-grandfather, Martin Bannon, was born in a village near Kilkenny, 3 castles. And
Kilkenny is amazing. I've been there. Right? It's just incredible.
There's a place called Freshford, that's big, and a place called Three, and that's where his baptismal records are. So I am going to be taken to where my great-great-grandfather was in fact born, and my relatives, direct ancestors lived. Boom. So that's all happening. That's why. But I was in France. I did 7 shows, and 6 of them were sold out. We weren't sure the last one would be sold out because it was an add-on in Belgium because the Belgian one sold out so fast. We said, okay, we'll throw in another one. It'll be just like the overflow. And then it sold out. So
jeez.
A standing room only, standing ovation. People, where they start to clap in unison, and then they stamp their feet, and then sometimes they chant. Now, sometimes they'll go, Alison, but in Belgium, I don't know what's going on in Belgium. I don't know what's in the water in Belgium. Enthusiasm? That's putting it mildly. Belgian people, I don't know what's happening with Belgium, but
what were they cheering?
They're very excited. They start going, whoa, wow. It's like, ooh, it was like, oh.
Probably a soccer chant.
Like, what is even happening? But yeah, they're very excitable in Belgium, and it was good. So I did that and signed 1 million autographs and did my shows, and
you guys
got
have
sick,
got
got
to
better,
get to Europe.
Got tired, got some sleep, and then,
Seriously, the Little House people have got to get out of the country next year, man.
Well, no, we're going to do that. We are absolutely going to do that.
I indeed had a little chat with my people and said, so, I did do that one RetroCon. Do you know someone? Yes, and didn't. So phone calls will be paid.
Okay, very good.
And I will chat them up in Ireland, too, because we still need to go to Ireland because they freaking love us.
Absolutely. So now, how did the documentary turn out? We did the Zoom call and the cameras were buzzing around. Now, has that come together yet, or is that at some later date?
It is epic. I mean, because they did, I don't know how many hours of footage. I said, how long is this whole thing when you're done? It's like
20
for the
minutes.
TV, it's what, 20 minutes? It's like, maybe 28. I'm like, right. I said, Devin, you shot like 9 hours of footage or so. There was so much B-roll. They interviewed me. They interviewed Patrick. They interviewed all the fans at like 3 different shows. Like, they filmed me signing autographs. They filmed this, they filmed that. They could do a 6-hour miniseries, the crap they have. But, apparently, it's all going to get boiled down to under a half an hour. I know they're working on it. I haven't been given a date yet, but they're going, both barrels right now. But yes, you will be in it. You'll be in it.
Well, I said so many nice things about you, so I figured that, they are going to use some of that. It might have been better if I'd said bad things about you. I mean, I think they might have liked that too.
And I think it's getting it because, like, initially it was supposed to be a brief thing, like, okay, just get on a call with him. And it's like here she is, because she has a podcast talking to Dean. But then the guy got into it. Next thing, like I said, he started leaning over going, ask him, can he say, what is that? And they had 20 questions for you, which was not a thing they initially said. Yeah, so they got excited about the whole thing. So, yeah, you're going to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's fun. And, the phenomenon of you is just extraordinary. People crushing on you all over the world.
It was crazy. And then I had a mini vacation, went with some friends to the Basque region, Pyrenees, Atlantique, all that. Got recognized in the chocolate shop, which I think is because she was handing out samples and said, do you want to try this one? Yes. Do you want to try this one? Yes. And somewhere, are you Nellie Olson? Came up.
Because you were having samples of candy.
Right. I ate all the candy. I kept saying, could I have more candy? And you seem familiar. So, and we went to Spain for the day. It was like lunch and shopping. It's like, we're going to Spain. Don't get excited. We're just going shopping. Oh, okay, great. So we went to Spain, had lunch. It was amazing. It was epic. I went kind of everywhere. I was in France, Belgium, Spain, and the Basque Country all in one trip.
Wow. It's very cool. And the Nellie Olson European tour continues beginning next week. So good for you. I mean, it's what an extraordinary year this has been.
Mm-hmm. I got New Jersey too. Sunday is New Jersey.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'm going to Ireland by way of New Jersey. I go to New Jersey on Saturday, and I do
Newark to Dublin. Quick
Collector Fest of Wayne, New Jersey. I'm just like a one-day little Sunday thing. Swing on by, get your autographs. Boom. Hi, it'll be Sunday. We'll hang out. Yeah. And then the next morning I fly to Ireland because, of course, I do.
Nice. Wow. Well, and speaking of people crushing on you all over Europe. Our patrons have been fantastic. We are tipping over 360 patrons now, which is really just a very cool thing considering we started with, starting as everyone does with 0, and people have joined us and they keep joining. And thank you to the patrons for coming and being with us.
We plan on having some more stuff going on. We'll do some more live Q&As. We're going to have another contest, I think. So stay tuned. Things are heating up.
Yes.
And our patrons are worldwide. I counted 1 from Germany, 1 from the Netherlands, and 2 from Canada.
Yeah.
So awesome. There you go. And that's just in the first 50.
Yeah, right. That's like right.
Yeah. So
we're speaking of one last shout out. Yeah. If you are the first of the 50 that signed up, that is entitled to get your gift from us. If we do not have your address, we can't send it to you. So please, we've reached out to you. So if you haven't checked your messages, please check your messages. If you know or believe you are one of the 50, please email us at littlehouse50podcast@gmail.com and let us know. Give us your mailing address so we can get it to you. It's all ready to go. We just need your address.
Yes, exactly.
In envelopes sitting right over there.
They're here for you.
Boom. Yes. Yeah.
And then of course we've teased the fact that we have our little store coming, which we're very excited about. And Pamela, you really have been running point on that. So thank you for what you've been doing.
And Joy and Christine have helped so much as well. And they've helped to design some of some of these new designs are so
I can't wait to see.
Great. It's so exciting. So I'm really excited for that. So again, wish me luck. Hopefully by the end of the week, that'll be up and we'll certainly make announcements about it. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different, right, Allison? We're doing something a little different. Yes, this is going to be a
little crazy because it's like, well, have a guest, not guest. We've done shows where we go, well, let's just talk about Dean. And we've had shows where we go, heck with it. Let's just talk about Alison. Well, let's talk about the time. Let's talk about this episode. Wait, what if we talked about Pamela?
Yeah, today is a Pamela day. We're not talking about Pam. We're not talking about Pammy. We're talking about Pamela.
Correct. Yes. And, possibly a little uncomfortable for me, but I'm here for it. I'm game. I'm game.
Really? Are you shy talking about you?
I mean, if I have to talk about me, I'm fine with it, but I'm not that person that's like, we need to talk about me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to, I'm fine not having the total full spotlight on this podcast, but hey, let's talk about me.
Yeah. Let's talk about you.
Do it.
Let's talk about you. We can't wait to hear what you have to say. But before we start that, Pamela, you need to introduce the podcast and then you can take a break.
Okay, from the studios of UB & Go in Burbank, California, me in New York City, this is the Little House 50th Anniversary Podcast, featuring me, Pamela Bob. Mellow tones. Okay, I have no notes. I have no idea what's about to happen.
Exactly. So no. Yeah, so listen, Pamela, you just relax. Alison and I will take it from here. Today you're the guest. Just sit back, relax, have fun, because it's all about you.
What about Bob? Okay.
Yeah, so look, some years ago, everyone who has done this has done a cabaret act. My cabaret act it's all about me. So of course so today it's, yes, of course, cabarets are always about us. So today, not a cabaret, but our Little House 50th podcast, it's all about you. So, you're going to tell us about your life before Little House. Is there life before Little House for you?
I don't think there is for her. She was born.
What kind of life was it? Well, I don't know. I discovered Little House probably in second grade, something like that. First, second grade. Yeah. Little. What was life like? Life was great. I grew up in a suburb of New York City, about 3 miles outside of New York. Very New York centric. Parents worked in New York. You did your stuff in the city. For the most part. My dad is a writer. He was in advertising. My mom is an actor, and my sister is a pianist. So we were a house full of artists, really.
Yeah, so this explains
in a family full of artists. We have a lot of artists in my family.
Yeah.
And life was great. Yeah, really good.
Wait, when were you born?
1977. The show was already on.
Wow.
You've never lived in a world
without
Little House in the Prairie wasn't on.
No, you're right. I actually didn't. I didn't live in a world without Little House in the Prairie. Yeah. Who would want to? Who would want to? What was it like, you guys? It was terrible.
I don't know, because I didn't know what I didn't know. We've talked about this before, but you have came into this. Little House was present in your life from the very beginning. I'm just curious.
Yes, because at 5:00 from Monday through Friday on Channel 11, WPIX, which is the New York City tri-state area channel at the time, that's where they would play the reruns. And one day I was sort of at home not knowing what to do. And I think my mom was like trying to cook dinner, so she couldn't really play with me. And she turned on the TV and she saw that Little House was on. She went, "Oh, here's Little House. Watch this. Try this." And I was like, okay. And forget it, guys. Like life, the fact that I even have that core memory shows you how impactful it actually was. Seeing that.
Did you dress up? Did you dress up? Did you braid your hair? Did you curl your hair?
Definitely had my hair into braids. And I had long hair and I wore the Laura braids almost every day.
Awesome.
Yep.
Wow.
See, that shows how real it is when you're when you're wearing the braids. So now, I'm sorry. So you're born in 77. So by the time you're actually cognitively able to get this, how were you? Like 5? You're 5, 6?
I think I was in first or second grade. 7? So 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
she's young. She's young.
Yeah. So the show was effectively over on the network before you maybe it was just the very end, and then the show started in syndication before it actually hit its network.
So I do remember being psyched to see that final episode because I could watch it on actual primetime TV at that point. And it was like the first time I'd ever actually seen Little House in primetime TV. Oh, wow. And then, they end up blowing the house and you're totally traumatized. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And I remember that too. It's a memory I have. It's so weird. These core memories of Little House.
Well, and since this is the 50th anniversary year of Little House and our 50th anniversary podcast, let's start with the public side of your Little House origin story. So you came into the Little House world because, at least for Alison and me, you came into it because of Livin On Prairie. Right?
Yeah.
And
that crazy story.
Yeah. So story. And I understand you've got a great story about this. So how did the two of you connect?
Well,
it's such a New York thing.
I'll start, Alison. So this is well before I ever had the concept of Living on a Prairie. Okay. I was doing a Broadway show called Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, and I randomly got a phone call from a touring company. So there are, in New York, you can get on these bus tours, and they're usually local bus tours from like Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And you hop on a bus, you go into the city, you have lunch, you see a Broadway show, they give you some sort of other event, and then you go back home at the end of the night. And so this was a bus that was coming in, and part of their attraction is they ask a Broadway actor to come and do a Q&A, hour-long Q&A. Maybe I think I had to sing a song and then just did a Q&A for this group of tourists that were coming into the city, and for a really good chunk of change. And I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. So I went and did it, and there was a tour guide. The tour guide was there in the audience in the back. Very nice guy. We maybe spoke 2 words to each other, maybe, like hardly any contact. And then the day was done and we went on our way. And later that evening, I saw that this tour guide had friended me on Facebook. Now, I have a private personal Facebook page. I really only accept people that I actually know and am friends with on my personal Facebook page. And for some reason, I clicked the accept button. And as soon as I clicked it, I was like, why did I just do that? That's super weird. Why did I just accept this guy's friend request? So I very quickly go to his profile page to see if he's a serial killer or something. And all over his...
Well, as one would. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I was like, what did I just do? It was very weird. And all over his Facebook page are pictures of himself and Alison.
Oh, wow.
And
I was Facebook.
Like brain exploded. I was like, what? Like total fan geek out. And so I messaged him and I said, how do you know Alison? Like, what's happening? He thought it was hilarious. He was like, oh my gosh, you're a bonnet head. Haha. Alison's one of my closest friends. Whenever she comes to New York, she stays with me. Hey, next time she's in the city, like we'll call you, we'll have coffee. And of course I'm like,
all over that.
Totally freaking out. Meanwhile,
so my friend Jimmy Dykes, tour guide, best tour guide in New York, going to New York, and he tour Jimmy Dykes. He does walking tours. He does this called Rich and Famous tours because he takes all celebrities.
He knows everything.
All kinds of tours. You want it all about the Astors. You want New York history. Do you want it all about Sex and the City? What do you want? Yeah. And he will do a whole tour. Wow. He will customize your tour. He will walk it. He will bus it. And he does these ones for theater students, high school and college, and theater groups from all over the country, and a bunch of like first-year college theater students or senior high school kids will all come out, and we went to see a show, and he marches them around and tells them stories and takes them Broadway show. And he says, hey, I got this thing I've been doing in my tour where I get a Broadway actor to come in and talk to the kids, and it's like hugely successful. They freaking love it. So I had this actress the other day. Oh my God, she was great. She's the biggest freaking bonnet head like ever. You have to, and I've known Jimmy Dykes at 2002, I think.
Yeah, like you had known each other like 20 years.
It was like when I started doing confessions the first time at Club Fez, I showed up like, hi, he was a friend of a friend, and next thing I know, I'm sleeping on his couch and like in his house. And so Jimmy and I go way, way back. So, and people think he's my brother because the blonde hair, blue eyes. Yeah, related. We're twins. And so, we become besties. And then he says, so she's a bonnet head. We have to meet her. I go, oh my God. He goes, well, she's in this show. And what was it? It was,
so then I was in another show called Hand to God. Yes.
Hand to God. He says, she's in Hand to God, which we totally have to see. It's really great anyway. And we'll go. And I called her and he said, I'll call her and she'll get us tickets and we'll go and we'll meet everybody backstage. And I'll be like, great. But you have to, she's a total bonnet head. So I'm like, awesome. And so next thing I know, Jimmy and I are off to, I think it was a matinee. We caught the matinee, didn't we? Came to the matinee.
It was a Sunday show because I know we didn't. Yeah. Because we hung out for hours after that show.
And then you had to go
best
to
shows
show.
of the week are Sunday matinees.
Yeah.
So relaxed. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went and got food and then you had to go back. But we went to the theater and indeed the show was great. And it was a crazy person and puppets and it was disturbing and dark and disturbing involving puppets. So
it's a brilliant show.
My kind of show. And then we go back to, and indeed, this lovely young woman who goes, and she's
flipping out. Yeah.
Totally wigged out, had a Prairie fit. And then she goes, wait, come backstage. And I meet the rest of the cast who are all apparently raving bonnet heads and horribly excited to meet me. And I've just seen them all on stage. So I'm like in awe. They were all brilliant and they're all bonnet heads. And so I'm like, well, this is what. So we go to this little diner and get food.
Yes.
And she starts telling me about her Prairie obsession. And then she says, I do an impression of Melissa Gilbert. It's from the Mr. Applewood. And
it's the what?
She does it. So after
the episode where Mr. Applewood comes, the mean teacher.
Okay.
The children.
Very mean
and
teacher.
Laura is crying and begs him not to do this.
He abuses her, yes.
And I'm in hysterics. I literally got my phone and said, do it again.
You called Melissa?
Videoed it. And texted it to Melissa Gilbert on the spot to check this out because she does it. And it's when Melissa was really little and with the teeth. And
it's the teeth.
She's trying to cry and talk at the same time, but she can't quite breathe or swallow properly.
Overbite and her teeth are so buffed that she can't eat, she can't swallow properly.
And she's just and she's sobbing hysterically. So it's all, so do it. So you're on.
Okay, I'll try it. Here we go.
It's
just one sentence. Here we go.
It's really short.
Oh, Mr. Applewood. Please. That's what she does. She has a hard time swallowing because her teeth are so bucked.
And it's so true. And Melissa was like, yeah, accurate.
That was really good.
Thanks.
I mean, I hear her. I hear her now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a lot of teethography.
Right away, we bonded. We bonded over this. I'm texting Melissa. We're good. Then she comes to my show because, of course, I'm in town. Duh. I'm at the Laurie Beachman Theater on 42nd Street doing confessions. So a couple months later, the whole party moves over. We all come to my show with Jimmy and everybody comes. And we go across the street to, God, what's that fabulous French place?
Not Joanne's.
We go to the Frenchy place.
French place across the street, yeah.
And we're having a fabulous time. And she turns around as we're shoveling escargot in our faces and says, you know, I think I'm thinking of writing a show. I've never written a series or comedy before. I'm a theater person, but I'm thinking of writing a television series. Maybe it's a web series. I don't know. And I said, really? And she said, would you read it? I said, yeah, I would read it. I would absolutely, because I'd already seen her on stage.
Because I knew I wanted you to do it. Yeah.
I'd seen her impersonate Melissa Gilbert, so I knew she was a genius. I already knew. There was no question about her talent.
That was my audition, yes.
That was the audition. And she sends this thing, like days, weeks, whatever, go by, back in LA, like, she's everything. People send me things all the time. Now, you all know this. We all get sent things. We're on TV. People go, here's read my thing. And we read them, and yeah, to be nice, 75% of the time, they're terrible. There's a 25%. We know people send us things and they're well-meaning and it's not a thing. I start reading this and start laughing so hard, tears are rolling down my face. And she has written, yes, Livin On a Prairie. And I'm dead reading this. So there you all are. And then she's like, do you want to do it? And the thing, and we get you on a plane and
how it all manifested was really insane. And I'll say how it all came to be was,
Jimmy,
I had done a string of Broadway and off Broadway, and I have to be honest, as grateful as I am to all of that, I was really burnt out after several years of it. And there was some toxicity. There was a lot of toxicity going on. And I just, my spirit had been very broken and my health was in bad shape. It just really took a toll on me. And so, I had sort of had it. Like I wasn't quitting the industry, but I knew I had like something had to change, or I just had to take a mental health break. And I was putting my son to sleep. And I had sort of, when you're in that sort of lucid dream place where you're not 100% asleep, but you're definitely not 100% awake. You're in that in between state. And all of a sudden, the Sandstorm episode, which was episode number 1, popped into my brain. And I swear, you guys, it felt like an electrical bolt went through my entire body. So much so that I literally sat up in the bed. Like the energy went, and I had this knowing, and I can't explain it any other way than I truly think it was a divine intervention. And I don't know how into woo you are. I don't think you have to be into woo woo, except that nothing like this has ever happened to me before. And it's the only explanation I have, which is something touched me, some kind of divine something shot through my body. The power of the prairie. And I had a knowing that I had to make this series. Now, I had done some TV, but like I had never written anything before. I had never produced anything before. I didn't even know how to do it. And so initially I was just like, well, I'll just take my iPhone and with a couple of friends and we'll just shoot it. It'll be fun. That's it. Well, I'll do it because it'll be fun. And I need to have fun in this industry because I was burnt out. And very long story short, the second and I knew what the title was, I knew it was Livin' on a Prairie. I knew it was going to be about a fan obsessed with Little House on the Prairie. And as soon as I said it out loud, it all manifested. Meaning, when I went to see Alison's show that time, I randomly, I'm putting that in quotations because I don't think there is anything random. I don't think there are any coincidences. Sat next to a lovely couple who struck up a conversation with me. And they said, oh, what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm an actor. And they were like, oh, we love Broadway and we love theater. And what are you working on now? And I said, and again, there was no thought process behind this. It was a completely involuntary action. What came out of my mouth was, I'm writing a TV show about a woman obsessed with Little House on the Prairie, and Alison is going to be in it. This is before I had written anything. This is before I asked Alison.
Yeah. All right. I want to start. Let's okay. Go. All right. Finish button that.
And this man looked at me and he said, that sounds amazing. I'd like to invest in that. And that is how I found my investor.
And we will be back to talk more about Livin' on a Prairie and all the fun episodes that Pamela Bob created and starred in when we're back right after this.
When you visit Simi Valley, California, you're stepping into the pages of history. Go from the pioneers to the presidents. Explore beautiful wildflowers, hike through iconic Hollywood locations, and end your day aboard the actual Air Force One at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Throughout the summer, take the Little House 50th Anniversary Tour at Big Sky Movie Ranch. Less than 15 minutes from Los Angeles and 30 minutes from Universal Studios, Simi Valley has small-town charm with big-time history. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more information. We are so grateful to visitsimivalley.com for their commitment to presenting the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
And we're back with Pamela Bob. This is the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast, and we are now into the creation moment of Livin' on a Prairie.
Yeah, that is totally bizarre, you introducing us back, by the way. That was a weird moment.
There you go. I mean, this is the nature of being adaptive in these situations. You can't do everything. You're the guest today.
It's true.
Yeah, you're the guest today. So, when I think of Livin' on a Prairie, I think of Sandstorm.
Yes.
I mean, that's sort of the moment I think of. So, and this is really cool that this thing just popped into your head as like a fully formed thing.
Well, here's the story about Sandstorm. Sandstorm, which is episode 1, is the one episode that is actually based on a true story. So the story is I literally was at a Pictionary party. Now, it wasn't a big party like how it was in the series. It was a little intimate gathering, just a handful of friends, and we were all playing Pictionary, and my partner was my sister. And I got the word Sandstorm. Now, my sister was also a bonnet head, so I was like, wait, before I even say what I drew, the only imagery that came to my mind reading the word sandstorm was the image of Mary in her bonnet in the sandstorm calling and crying for Susan. You know. And we know because we're a bonnet head audience out here, right? I don't think I'm the only.
Well, according to the way you shot it, you're the only one who knew. Because I'm looking at your wonderful ensemble of actors that you put around you. I mean, you had really some terrific talent with you who were looking at you like, how many heads does this woman have?
Well, and so that's what happened in real life, too. So I in real life, I drew this picture of Mary in a bonnet and a skirt with swirls all around. Of course. And my sister's guessing everything that I'm drawing, but not sandstorm, because why? And when the buzzer went off and my time was done, I was so pissed and I slammed down my pencil and I was like, sandstorm. And there was dead silence. And my sister just looked at me and went, why didn't you just draw sand? And again, never occurred to me, because that is the blessing and the curse of Little House on the Prairie. Because when you are a fan of Little House on the Prairie, it filters your life experience. It truly does. And that generally was the purpose of the series, which is you really don't even have to know Little House on the Prairie to like Livin' on a Prairie, because it's not really about Little House on the Prairie. It's about this woman who doesn't feel like she fits in, who has social anxiety, who hasn't found her place in her world. And she's getting all of this stuff from a TV show, which isn't real. But it affects her entire life. So that's where Sandstorm came from. So that I knew that was the opening, and then the rest of it just flowed out of me because it was all sort of experiences that I had thought and had felt for years and years.
I loved how you buttoned this. And, and these are, for those who have not seen Livin' on a Prairie, these are what, like 6-minute?
Yeah, they're between like 4 and 7 minutes.
4 and 7 minutes.
The whole thing is 31 minutes total.
Yeah. And when your best friend, the wonderful actress who plays your best friend,
Mary
walks in and sees, she walks in late, sandstorm.
Yeah, because she
Thank
knows.
you.
The bonnet heads know.
Yeah.
The problem is you're living in a modern day world where people are not talking about Little House on the Prairie.
Of course.
And if they are, it's all in the closet. It's very secretive. It's like an underground club.
We know.
You guys know. So
we know.
It's not the coolest, but
and Bonnet Heads Anonymous. That's right. Again, those are all like Broadway actors. Those are all your friends from Broadway. These are all like top Broadway actors who got roped in to be.
And let me tell you something about Bonnet Heads Anonymous, which is the 3rd episode, which is, if the audience hasn't seen it yet, it's an all-male kind of like
Support
Alcoholics
group.
Anonymous group, but for men who love Little House on the Prairie and who are closeted. And let me see these pictures here. Let me tell you the commitment of these actors when they came onto this set. They had the script, but then in talking to them, they were like, no, we watched several episodes. Like, they did their research. They went deep. And so these performances,
they're wonderful.
Oh my God, they're so rich and they're so funny because of how serious they are about it.
I'm a man and I love Little House on the Prairie.
Well, that actually came from a real man I was talking to. That opening line, I'm a man. He said,
I played pro ball in the 90s. I'm straight.
I'm 6'5". Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a man, and I love Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
All these guys
Jim
are
Ferris.
So good.
That guy who plays the
here's your therapist. Here's your therapist. Yeah,
that's Jim Ferris. He's been in The Lion King for the past 20 years. He's, they're all Broadway people, all of them.
And you dragged Jimmy into it, who was an actor, the tour guide. And right before he went to shoot it, like the day before, he said, "I don't know. What do you think? It's comedy, right? It's a satire, it's a broad comedy." I said, "Oh no, do it play it straight."
Yeah, when it's dark, you shot it dark. It's not comedy the way you shot it.
No. It's very serious.
And I said to him, I said, "Jimmy, it's a coming out story." Coming out, and he went, "Oh,
and
my God, yeah."
Nailed it.
And then when he sits there and goes, I couldn't tell anyone. I could never tell anyone." And he's just like, "Oh." I mean, he went there. He just completely went there.
It makes you cry. These men. I know, it's so fun.
Well,
and that's the one episode I'm not in. And actually, Allison was in town.
Well, no, you're in it. You're in it. You have one shot. You have one shot with your friend. Yes. I don't know why you're there, frankly, but you are. Because it doesn't track with what's necessarily there, but you're there. It keeps you alive in the show.
Yes. Well, that's it's the button at the end of the episode where we're in our apartment watching Little House.
Yes, you're watching Little House.
Find a guy.
That's right. Into this. But the wonderful moment as the guys gather and they run down the hill at the end as you have your little theme and they jump at the end. So here you are at the end taking this in. We have a picture of the men jumping at the button of the music, which is there we are.
Bam.
There they are. Yeah.
The one right there in the center, that's Matt Bogart. He starred in Jersey Boys for about 10 years. He's a good friend of mine. Do you know how much fun it was for those guys to run down that hill? It was truly like everyone was
this Central Park? Was this Central Park?
No, this was Astoria Park, which is just 4 blocks down from my house. It's right on the East River, and there's a beautiful, huge lawn that slopes down. So we were able to get that hill effect. And
it's great.
It was so much fun to see how joyful were all in doing it. Airplane arms, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean it's our moment. It's our moment at the end of every episode of the 50th anniversary podcast, and we stole it from Melissa, and you stole it. I mean, it's like this is an iconic moment. Speaking of Melissa, now I looked online at your page. You call the episode "Sweet Messlissa."
Oh, that's a mistake.
Is that a typo?
That's a typo. Is that real? What is
that? It's on your webpage.
Oh, that's a big old mistake.
Sweet Messlissa is what it's called. So I'm just calling it that for right now. Maybe you should just leave it because it's sort of fun.
It's been up for years. This is the first time anyone's pointed that out.
One until now.
Okay, that's going to change right after this episode. Okay.
All right. So I love that you're sitting there with your friend, who is wonderful with you, by the way.
Mary Teresa Archbold. She's awesome.
Yeah. When you're having this moment together, as you're sharing your dreams for Melissa's life and all the good things that you hope will happen to her and the things that, here you are. I mean, here you are.
Here we are.
Yeah,
yes.
Here you are going through the moments.
Do you like the milk in the wine glasses, by the way? Milk in the wine glasses?
Oh, see, I'm just seeing that now. Yeah, I mean, I was just.
We had a full Prairie dinner. We had the fried chicken and the biscuits and the milk and the wine glasses because it was Melissa Gilbert's birthday, and we were celebrating our annual Melissa Gilbert birthday. There it is.
Yeah,
Boom.
I mean, now see, this is. Did she know anything about this?
No.
I mean, wow, you really took a chance there. You took a chance because that could have gone and here you are with your bonnets on, celebrating Melissa's birthday. That could have gone very differently. As it turns out, Alison, she loves the show, right? I mean, she has seen Livin On a Prairie and totally loved it.
She did. She actually wrote me a really lovely message. When she finally saw it, it took a while. You know, we had COVID and she was in the country and her internet wasn't running. And I just don't think it was a priority for her to check out this thing with this person that she has no idea who she is.
Right.
And yada, yada, yada. Totally fine. Totally fine. But when she did finally watch it, she did write to me and said, "Oh my God, I've been living under a rock. The show is brilliant. So that was very lovely and validating for me. It was really good. Pamela. And every year on her birthday, I post that clip from Livin On a Prairie. And she loves it. So yay.
Well, and you start the episode off, you're reading her book, you're reading Prairie Tale. I mean, here you are reading Prairie Tale at the top of this episode when your friend knocks on the door. No, is it that or is that ladies' night?
That's the final episode. Yes. Okay. That's before we go to the club.
Right. Okay. Very good. Very good. So, and now let's talk about the self-help group or the life coach. Alison, your life coach.
I was so excited about this because right when she's like, you're kind of my shrink in it. So again, I scream, fall down, die, laughter, like too funny. But she's a life coach. So I go, oh, okay. So you know me.
Yeah, she's downgraded from an actual therapist. Yeah, she's just a life coach.
Totally method research. So I call a friend who I happen to know has been working as an actual licensed life coach, who again, weird tie-ins, Mary McDonough from the Waltons, who's one of her side hustles, and she does life coach, and she has a whole online thing, and she sends great messages to people. So I ring her up. I go, okay, this is really insane. I'm playing a life coach in this thing. And I explain it to her. She's peeing her pants laughing. She says, this is great. She goes, oh, wait, are you like a really good life coach? Are you kind of maybe not the world's greatest life coach? I go, I'm a terrible life coach. I'm awful. I'm the cheapest one this poor woman could afford. And I'm going on about how we're having the meeting in a restaurant, not my office.
We're in a diner.
Yeah. I don't have an office and the breakfast is cheap. So I like that. She goes, oh, got it. She goes, okay, here's all the like cloying catchphrases. Here's the things that like terrible life coaches do. Here, what you want to do. Yeah, we're going to have this space and we're going to, and I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, here you go. And she like, we were on the phone for like an hour and I'm like taking notes. And so I came in.
You brought so much to the table. Because when I wrote it, I called one of my best friends who was also a life coach. And I said, tell me the lingo, explain to me. So I was using a lot of his terminology, and then this one shows up and adds even more to it, which is ridiculous and awesome and perfect. Yes, continue.
And so we had a blast doing this, and I had my Judd Nelson therapist sweater, the Judge sweater, my sweater. Yes, sweater. If you show the sweater, my shrink sweater, my movie shrink sweater, and so I was just like way into this thing. So I just like go to a thing, and she's like cracking up, and then of course she's crying through the whole scene.
I have to be very hysterical the whole time.
Yeah, well, because you've come off of the first date, and you say I need help. Yeah. And here you are seeking help from someone who has no chance to help you.
And I'm like, it's a show from the 1970s. I'm trying to like bring her to reality. Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm just like, what if and it's just a complete train wreck. And while we're doing this, she does not stop crying, and she's got real tears and snot. I mean, she's really good. She's really good.
So wait a minute. Are we shooting this with one camera or two?
Oh, it was a couple. Yeah.
So you were shooting across each other so you could, so you could just keep crying and Alison could spew misinformation.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we're doing this, and she wants to, and so like, I'm worried she's going to keep this up. And at one point it gets to, it's like her close up and she's like, she's been crying for like hours. And I thought, okay, I know what to do. This is terrible. We all know how Michael, when we were kids on the show, how he would get these emotional responses. We talked about how he would really get people right to go all the way.
But I didn't know. Yes.
And he would talk about, he would take Melissa Gilbert aside when she was young.
Do you know how much I love you is the famous story.
Do you know how much I love you? And hug her. And that would trigger everything. So this poor girl is sobbing at the table. And right before the camera, right before action, I look at her and go, do you know how much Michael Landon would love you right now?
And
God.
projectile tears, just like.
What a great thing to have said to her, Alison.
Do you understand how freaking meta that experience was, where you're with these people who you idolize your whole life, and then you meet them, and then you write something for them, and then you're acting across the table for them, and then she says this to you before your take. Like, the whole thing was crazy. And not just that take. Then the next 2 or 3 takes, the rest of the takes throughout that entire taping, right before Garth Kravitz, who was our awesome director and co-producer.
But he did a great job too.
Amazing. Cut and Dry Films. Amazing.
Really nice.
Right before he would call action, Alison would lean in and say something else to me that Michael Landon would have said. And it worked every single time. I mean, it was so intense. At one point, I think I started screaming at you like, shut up! Shut up!
So now you also had, that was so much fun. And then you, of course, I love the little button at the end where you have the couple come in who thinks you're in Game of Thrones.
Well, the waiters keep suspiciously looking at Alison throughout the entire episode. And the audience thinks it's because they recognize her as that they think she's Nellie Olson. However, in the end, they come up to her and think that she's actually Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Which is a running gag.
And I get that all the time, she says.
I get it all. I do.
You do get that all the time.
I do. The darling young man who played the evil Joffrey on Game of Thrones, who I love. I mean, what a performance! Yes, he is absolutely one of my top favorite. We do look alike. He looks. He looks like he's my son or something. It's like ridiculous. He's my. We look. He's Irish. We look frighteningly alike. Yes. And I've had people go, "Oh my God, are you like related to him?" And people started putting on Facebook and various internet sites a picture, that Nelly like sideways smile, and a picture of the guy who plays Joffrey doing this, and it's kind of terrifying, and it says evil has a face, and it's like we look alike, and it became this running joke that I look like the
my God
evil king.
Look at that.
Oh wow,
we completely have the same nose.
And also Alison was like the #1 TV villain, and he was the #2 TV villain. Like,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
it's got to be in the look.
I knew it was this sort of online gag that had been going on. And I knew it was sort of risky putting it in the show because if you know, you know. And if you don't, then maybe that went over your head. But I think it went okay because that clip on TikTok has like 150,000 views.
That's great.
That's what's crazy. It was such a thing that people actually got it. They went,
they got it.
So, all right, now,
they got it.
How was it working with Charlotte? Because Charlotte, Charlotte is so wonderful. And I love the fact that she shows up and puts on what, I don't know, who encouraged who, but, Charlotte's pretty, we all know Charlotte. I mean, she's willing to play. So did she go with the whole dark eyes and the tats and the whole thing?
Oh, yeah. Full on, had no qualms about it whatsoever. Yeah. And you know what? I felt terrible afterwards because I had not read her autobiography before we filmed.
Oh, well.
It had just come out.
Oh.
So I didn't know really about her past and sort of the problems that she had battled through. And here I am asking her to be this bartender, with tats and the emo makeup. And she was game. She was great. And it was only until after we filmed that I read her book and went, oh my God, I can't believe she was so willing to do this so happily
she's game. Charlotte is just game.
She was freaking awesome, and she was awesome. We had never met before. Alison had hooked me up with the cast, and we could only bring a couple people out here at a very limited budget.
See, I know you asked me to come and be the guy at the Bonnet Heads Anonymous who comes to play basketball.
Yeah,
and I just couldn't get there.
No,
and
it's
I'm
okay.
Kicking myself after I see this jumping down the hill thing that I missed this opportunity to be that guy only in New York. I mean,
we'll have to do something else.
Well, you'll have to do something else. Yeah.
No, but Charlotte, I picked her up from the airport, and the second we met, she's just, Charlotte truly is like one of the best human beings I've ever known. And she was so lovely. She was telling me all of these stories, like these stories were like your jaws on the floor stories. And she's just so, what a beautiful soul and a beautiful human being.
She's
and I will
awesome.
say, when we were filming, we were in this club in Brooklyn filming this scene, and we had a bunch of extras. And these extras are there, and she shows up, and there was this one woman, sort of a middle-aged Black woman, there to help with the show. And all of a sudden, we just hear her start crying. And go, my teacher. And she put her arms out and they embrace, and she just kept saying, my teacher. And
I'm telling you guys, the impact that y'all had on generations of people, it runs so deep. I mean, we do feel that way about Charlotte. We do feel that way about Miss Beadle. We feel that way about you guys. It's not just a TV show for us. It really
for us. I love that.
It penetrates something much deeper than just a TV show, which is why it's still going as strongly as it is.
And why we're all so grateful to be a part of it. It's really been an incredible gift. Pamela, you've had this wonderful career as a performer on stage, which is a whole different kind of a career to have. You've obviously had your on-camera work. You are wonderful on camera in the show, and all the people you put around you were so terrific. And I mean, I love your mother sitting there on the bench as the homeless woman at the end of the first date, off eating a bagel. Love that moment.
So here's the thing about my mother. My mother is a phenomenal actor. Just like one of the best actors I've ever seen. She's incredible. And in real life, she's a very elegant woman. She was a former ballet dancer. She's very
you wouldn't
elegant.
have known
She's
it watching
beautiful.
her there. Yeah,
I know, but she's this incredible character actor. So of course, I make her the homeless lady, like the most unglamorous.
Of course.
But she nailed it.
Well, and there she is. And this was so wonderful because you knew in that moment that your character needed help in that moment.
She cracked. She went on a blind date with a guy who seemed just like this was the bee's knees.
Well, he's pretty terrific guy. I mean,
he's a terrific guy.
Yeah. He just didn't quite get you.
No,
but he does eventually.
He said the Waltons, and that
was the Waltons thing. Yeah.
That was the trigger word.
The Waltons.
So everything goes very awry. I have to say, in that episode too, those were things that I've always wanted to say.
And you did.
When someone's like, Little House, or they poo-poo it, or they say it's just a silly family-friendly show, or they compare it to the Waltons, that is a trigger. That is a trigger for the Valentine. So that was me, relinquishing that
Well, you got it out. And you got it out, and it worked. Listen, we are racing for the exits here.
Okay.
This has been such a great conversation, and there's more that we could talk about. But I just want to make sure before we say goodbye that you have your Christmas show coming up in New York. Here we are. We're in early November, and you've got a Christmas show. Tell us quickly about your Christmas show.
I will. It's a show that I've co-written. It's a SNL meets Bad Santa with some rockin' music in it.
Yeah, that's
It's
awesome.
in an interactive cabaret space at the Green Room 42, December 4th, 6th, and 7th. It is an adult show, not for if you want a family-friendly holiday show, go see the Rockettes.
Yeah,
this is not it. So just putting a warning out there, please don't be mad at me if you show up and you're expecting it to be Little House with a Christmas tree. It's not going to be that, but it's ridiculously funny. We just wanted to write a show. The world is so crazy, and it's been so dark and so chaotic, and we just wanted to write a show that's going to make people just laugh and belly laugh for 75 minutes straight. And I think we're doing that. Our cast is incredible. We have people from Mad TV and Comedy Central and Broadway all in it.
Wow.
Our choreographer is Sarah Jenkins, who, if you've watched Breakable Kimmy Schmidt or Girls 5 Eva on Netflix, any choreography in there is hers. And we also have a Kickstarter, guys. So if you follow me on social media, you'll see all that stuff up there. If you want to know any more, just write to the Little House Gmail and I'll get it.
Well, you got to put that in the show notes.
I'll put it in the show notes. It'll all be in the show notes.
This is your show, but you still have to write the show notes.
Correct. I will write these show notes.
Yeah. You have to write the show notes. So, and now
still make you work.
You need to take us to the exit with all the information that you always provide. But this has been so great. And Alison, thank you for leading Pamela through this. And your story of how you met is a classic story. And how's that ever worked or what? You are fully a member of the Little House family with everything that you have done. No, you are. I mean,
we wouldn't have had this. We wouldn't have this.
We wouldn't be here doing this without you.
Well, I talked to Trip Friendly this week, and we were talking, and he also said, Pamela, you are a full part of the Little House family, and that was a big deal. So
that is a big deal.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys so much, and the fact that I'm here with you, and I get to work with you, and that you're my friends. You're not just like people I know. You're my actual friends and my buddies, and
we are
people
friends
that I lean on and that I can talk to, and who's so supportive and wonderful. And I can't thank you enough. You guys have just been incredible, as has the entire Little House family and community. So yeah, I'm a lucky girl. Very lucky.
We're lucky to have you too. So say goodbye for us.
Goodbye for us. Okay, you guys, listen. This has been a wacky episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be back next time. Please join us on socials, Little House 50 Podcast, our website, littlehouse50podcast.com. Everything will be in the show notes, everyone's doings, my Christmas show, and we'll see you next time. Bob, get the wig. Oh, which will be part of our merch, by the way, a Bob, get the wig. Yes, here we go. Let's fly, everybody. And you can watch Livin On a Prairie, livinonaprairietv.com.